by Muslims. First time major invasion occurred by M.Ghazni. His coin on the other side had matter written in Sanskrit in Vijaynagar. Years rule of Muslims. That one event allowed the inflow of Muslims, and then this Sultans first and then Mughals ruled India for almost 600 years. This is what we call the Sultanate era. The major Sultanate was established in Delhi and around. That's why it is called Delhi Sultanate. Delhi Sultanate has lots of dynasties like Slave, Khilji, Tughluq, etc. up to Suri. But there were other sultanates also which cropped up around it whenever there was opportunity. So whenever they could establish, they were established. Some of them lasted very long, and these include right from Kashmir and Gujarat in particular to Ahmedabad and others up to Vijaynagar. The first dynasty in India was slave. Why was it called slave? Because Qutbuddin Aibak was slave of m.ghori. In his own lifetime, m.ghori left the rule, gave it to Qutbuddin Aibak. So he became the first ruler of the slave dynasty. He also initiated building of Qutub Minar, which surprisingly was broken down, fell by earthquake, and rebuilt several times by Iltutmish, Alauddin Khilji and others. Last foolish attempt was done by the British. Slave dynasty saw two more great kings. There were other kings, but just to note, Iltutmish. The mention is important because he was not only a great king, he stopped incursion of Genghis Khan into India. Razia Sultan, his daughter, was the first Muslim ruler, and you do see all of them minted coins. From that time onwards, the Sultanate coins started becoming standardized. So they had kalma from Quran and name and titles of the king and the mint from where it was made and the date, everything was written. One more important dynasty was Tughluq dynasty. One of them was the wise mad king Muhammad Tughluq. After Maurya, Ashoka, this was the first time entire India was under one rule. Maybe he was mad or whatever, but in his own lifetime, it shrank. He could not maintain it. And the Delhi Sultanate saw increase and decrease over the period, and by the time Lodis came, it was a small empire around Delhi. You mentioned of Gujarat Sultanate. Many kings came. There were 15 sultans who ruled Gujarat from Tughluq to Akbar era. But just to name two, Ahmad Shah, who established Ahmedabad, he made the forts that we know, he made Bhadra, he made the Jummah Masjid and many such monuments. And Muhammad Beglo ruled over this empire from Ahmedabad as well as Champaner. So he had two capitals, and he had conquered two forts, Champaner and Girnar, and that is why he was called Be-Ghada, means Be-Ghad. That is why Muhammad Begla. We know Champaner, that was also his creation. These are three important monuments of Ahmedabad. We are familiar about Sarkej Roja. Sarkej Roja was made by Muhammad Shah in honor of Muhammad Shah was again a sultan, and he made this in honor of a Sufi saint called Ganj Bakhsh. And Sufi saint Ganj Bakhsh was the person instrumental in making Ahmedabad because he had advised Ahmad Shah, who was before Muhammad Shah, to build Ahmedabad in this spot. Shah Alam Roja was made in honor of Shah Alam, who was a religious teacher and also was a teacher to Muhammad Begla. And Sidi Sayyid Mosque was actually built by a slave. He was a royal slave in the army of Muzaffar III in worldly memory because he was the last sultan. And all of us know that one jali is missing. From childhood we were told that British took it and it is in British Museum. I'm sure some of you might have heard that story. That is wrong. When the jali was being made, Mughals attacked. So they had to stop the work, put the stones there, and that is the time when the rule changed from sultans to Mughals. Babar had defeated Ibrahim Lodi of the Lodi dynasty. But then, we are going to repeat this in a bit. Humayu again attacked and Humayu was defeated by Sher Shah Suri. Sher Shah Suri was a great king. This was his empire. And the red line that you see is today's Grand Trunk Road. The Grand Trunk Road, as we know, from Bengal to Kabul was actually made in ancient times. Much before Maurya, it was renovated, called Uttarapad, and during Sher Shah Suri's time it was called Badshai Sadak, and then the British made it a tarmac route, and now it is called a 2,700 kilometers long road is called the Grand Trunk Road. Sher Shah Suri, by the time he came, the coinage has a variety of denominations. Some of them were Shatmana, Karshapana in ancient times, Tetragram in Greek, Phanam and Taka in Sultanate period. Sher Shah for the first time gave the name Rupiah. Why? Because Rupiah means silver, and this was 1 tola silver. 1 tola silver coin came to be known as Rupiah. He also introduced mohurs and dam. They were not named by Mughals but by Sher Shah Suri. Rupiah word is used for coinage even in many countries including Indonesia, Maldives, Sri Lanka, etc. even today. But you know what is very interesting here? Sher Shah coined the name Rupiah for 1 tola silver coin. It continued to be 1 tola during Mughals, Marathas, princely states, Portuguese and British age. 1 tola silver, 1 rupee for 400 years. In 1940, the British were broke post-war and the colonies rising their heads. They used half silver. This is the half silver coin. The last coin, 1939 coin, is a very rare coin because British withdrew all of those silver coins, last coins. And that is why the 2-3 years before or 2-3 years after coins are just few hundred rupees. The 1939 rupee is probably 5 to 10 lakh. It is that rare. And we know the story. British before leaving made it entirely nickel. And we know what we did. 400 years, 1 tola silver, and in 80 years we reached stainless steel. Before start of the Mughal era, one name stands out, Guru Nanak. He was born and brought up in Punjab. He actually was a clerk to Lodi Sultan in that area. He grew to be a great person, and do you see this map? He traveled all these countries in that time. To my knowledge, he is probably the first saintly, godly person who traveled so much. Otherwise, even Buddha Bhagwan, Mahavira, they never moved out of that area. He started Sikh religion, the Guru Parampara started, and his words are written as Guru Granth Sahib, as we know. I hope you know that there is one place in Kutch from where he went to Makkah. There is a very small building where even there are paintings from his times, from where he went to Makkah. This is near Narayan Sarovar, which is the westernmost point of Kutch. But now this brings us to the Mughal era. The Mughal era was ushered in, and from Babar to many other Mughal kings, they came and built the greatest empire the world had ever seen. Not just in size, but in affluence. Who were Mughals? Mongols came from Mongolia. Genghis Khan came much later, Taimur, and then they came to Afghanistan. When they settled in Afghanistan, they started being called Mughals. So they were Mongols. From Afghanistan, they became Mughals. And fourth generation of Taimur was Babar, who attacked Delhi, defeated the Lodi, as we have already mentioned, and established a small empire in that area, in northern India. His son Humayu, and you please keep on seeing the coins. These coins are actually Afghan coins. They brought the Afghan designs. Even later Afghan coins are like this. They had a small empire, but Humayu was a weak king, was defeated by Sher Shah Suri. He ran away in today's Pakistan, Gujarat area. Pakistan has a Gujarat area in Sindh here. And in Umarkot, Akbar was born. That place has a very small monument like this, even at present, in Pakistan. Humayu came back, defeated Sikandar Shah Suri, and re-established throne in Delhi. But Akbar, at a young age, with the help of his guardian, Bairam Khan, he wrangled the Delhi throne from lots of people who had eye on the throne, including Hemu, who was a faithful of Suri in the second battle of Panipat, and then expanded his empire from this to this. Akbar ruled almost 2/3 of Indian subcontinent, not the entire India, still. And his coins started becoming more and more beautiful. You have the 10th display, which is coin of Akbar. This is a square coin like this. This is a coin of Akbar. His empire was also called Gunpowder Empire, because even though Babar had brought gunpowder, Akbar perfected it. And he used it with killing accuracy. And that is how he won so many battles. At his time, contemporary to him was great Maharana Pratap. His father was defeated in siege of Chittorgarh by Akbar, and Maharana Pratap was then born in Kumbhalgarh. Maharana Pratap kept on fighting small battles, and at Haldi Ghati, he was defeated by Akbar. He hid in the jungles in that area, which is actually very close to my house where I worked in Adivasi people near Poro. And later on, he did expand his empire to this size in western Mewar. Akbar started Ilahi era. He was so great, and every great person wants to leave a mark on the world. So he said, why Hijri era and Samvat, Vikram Samvat, let me start my own era. So from his enthronement, Ilahi era started. He also tried to establish a new religion, which even his own Maulvis did not like. And both of these perished in his own lifetime or soon after it. But he made Agra. There was an old fort, but he renovated it and made Agra fort. Like Harshvardhan, his life is very fully recorded in what is called Akbarnama. Lots of history and pictures exist. Pictures exactly like him. This is probably a picture of Akbar, because they were painted in his presence. And that is why Akbarnama has a lot of stuff to see. Akbar coins became very beautiful. These are some coins that we see here. This is called a Mehrabi, and very expensive coin, which is going to be auctioned 3 days later in Switzerland for about 1 crore rupees. But he made a Ram Sita coin. Can you imagine? Ram Sita coin. Nobody has made. Indian government has not made. He made a Ram Sita coin. Only few specimens. Kitna aase Manish bhai? 5-6 world ma? 6. Manish bhai is a major scholar of Mughal and ancient coins also, my very good friend. Only 6 specimens exist, and most of them are in the museum, some in private collections.